friend of mine, and we actually met here, our first time. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Gene Jackson.
What's up, y'all? So, I gotta say, I was just telling everybody before the show started, like, this is a really decent bunch of people here, because most of y'all were here and saw me come up and eat shit on this fucking stage earlier, and none of you laughed loud enough for me to hear it. So I was like, those are some good-ass people. And then the biggest pop of the night come from eating ass, and everybody's like, yeah, eat that fucking ass. I'm like, what are we doing? This is Gadsden. We don't publicly talk about eating ass in Gadsden. Come on, y'all. It's a fucking class. All right, y'all. Seriously, though, I hope I don't bomb up here tonight. Y'all know what bombing is in comedy, anybody? Yeah! Right, so it's when you come up here, you tell your little jokes, and nobody laughs. They just sit here and stare at you like you got a third eyeball or some shit, right? Joe Rogan once infamously said that bombing on stage is like sucking 1,000 dicks in front of your mother. And I was talking to some comedian friends about that recently, and this gay comedian said, yeah, man, that's a homophobic statement that Joe Rogan made. And I said, how so, man? And he's like, because it's implying that it's shameful to suck a dick. And I was like, brother, I think you're focusing on the wrong thing, okay? Because I don't know about you. I don't know if as a gay man, if you aspire to suck dicks in front of your mother, but I know as a straight man, I've never been about to go down on some chick and be like, hey, mom, come watch this shit. It's not our proudest moment, that's all I'm saying. Although some of you might, judge based on some of these reactions, and some of y'all may do that, I don't know. I just know that my mom would hate that joke. I know she's looking down on me right now for saying that joke. No, she's not dead, she's just very judgmental. I think the proper term is Southern Baptist is what you call that. That's right. My mom used to make sure me and my little brothers in church every Sunday learning that golden rule. You know what the golden rule is? Roll Tide. Did you really say fucking Roll Tide? Have you people ever been in church in your life? The golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In church, that's called the golden rule. At work, that is called sexual harassment. That's what that fucking write-up said, anyway. Speaking of my mom, my life came full circle recently. She wanted me to take her to Olive Garden for her birthday, and I said, hey, you got spaghetti at home? It felt good, I ain't gonna lie. That one felt good. I like saying that to her. But anybody married here? I've been happily married for 12 years, which means we don't have any children. You can't be happily married and have kids. I don't care what Donnie was saying earlier about how great it is. That's bullshit. I couldn't be up here tonight having a good time at a bar on a Saturday night if I had kids. I'd be at home watching the same episode of Paw Patrol for the 5,000th fucking time, eating chicken nuggets because that little motherfucker won't eat anything but chicken nuggets, so we're having again. Jay! So I'm just saying, if you don't have kids, you're doing it right. And if you do have kids, I heard that. Yeah, I'm fat. We all saw that. All right. Yes, sir. I eat a lot of fucking chicken nuggets, mister. I got a weed fucking leaf on my hat. Chill out. I'm sure you've had a few chicken nuggets in your day, sir. Let's not get uppity in here. But anyway, as I was saying, if you do have kids, get rid of them. I ain't saying Susan Smith them off in the lake or anything. Just put them up for adoption. Ditch them up here at the flea market up here. What's that called? Mountaintop? Ditch them at Mountaintop. They'll go home with a Mexican family. They'll be fine. It's good to have a second language. They'll need it when they go to work at the chicken plant one day. It's perfectly cool. My wife always gives me shit for using Susan Smith as the example in that joke. She's like, why would you say Susan Smith? Like, why would you say Like, what's the bitch's name that killed her kid? Casey Anthony. See, everybody knows. I didn't have to say it. I knew the name, but I just wanted to see. Everybody knows that chick killed her kid, right? It's not a secret. Yeah. The reason I say Susan Smith. Does everybody know who Susan Smith is? Do I need to explain that dated reference? Yeah. She rolled her kids off in the lake and murdered them in 1994. And then she went and told everybody that a black guy carjacked her and kidnapped her kids. There's no joke there. If you laugh, you're a bad person. I didn't say that as a joke. I just let people know that's who Susan Smith is. But the reason I use Susan Smith as an example is because when I was in high school around the time that happened, one of my good friends, Nick Smith's mother, was named Susan Smith. Yeah, if you think we didn't have some fun with that shit, you're crazy. See, his mother, Susan Smith, existed in a time before they had that phrase, Karen. Back then, we just had to call his mom a bitch. It was a simpler time back then. I miss it those days, really. You know? Sometimes you just got to call them like you see them. But comedy is going pretty well for me. I don't want to brag, but I won a comedy contest recently. Won a cash prize. So I said, you know what? It's time to get serious about this shit. I'm quitting my day job, and I'm doing this comedy thing, but we blew through $100 pretty quick, so I pretty much had to go back and ask for my job back. That was a mistake. So, but I will say this. Have anybody in here ever heard of a comedian named Kevin Hart? Yeah. Last month, I got the opportunity to open for a guy that looked just like Kevin Hart. Same height and everything, and he did most of the jokes from Kevin Hart's second special, so, you know, I got that going for me, which is pretty nice, but, you know, I don't know how this comedy thing's going to go. I was late getting here tonight. It was kind of embarrassing. It reminded me of back in the day, you know, sneaking into class, 20 minutes late, still half drunk, high as hell, just come in, put my head down on the desk, and just pray I don't get asked any questions. That's how I lost my teaching job. They don't like that. They don't like that. So, speaking of school, let me give you all a bit of free advice so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. If you ever get roped into going down to the school to videotape something, don't just roll in there and announce, I'm here to shoot the kids, because even if you got a camera, they will call the law on your ass. Every time. Every time. I'm not allowed within 100 yards of that school now. Plus side of that, my brother's got to take his own shitty kids to school. Downside of that, people here, you're not allowed within 100 yards of school. They just assume certain shit about you. And none of them charges have ever stuck, all right? And even if they did, statute of limitations is up. So just, why are we talking about? What are you talking about? Just leave it alone, all right? Let's not go there. Let's not go there. It's like my grandpa always used to say, it's better to have loved and lost than to get stuck raising a bunch of shitty kids. And I think that's wise words. Of course, you know, my grandpa says some wild shit. He's hooked on pills. Viagra mostly, but, you know, I don't expect y'all to care, but boy, grandma sure is taking it hard. That's a good joke. If you didn't laugh at that, what the fuck are you doing here? Why don't you just go across the street? Go across the street to Blackstone or some shit if you didn't like that, because that's as good as it's going to get tonight. I'm kidding. My grandpa's not hooked on pills. He's been dead for quite a while. I just keep that joke in to take my mind off the fact we lost my grandmother recently. Yeah. We eventually found her, though. She was down in Tunica at the casino. She was up about $3 grand when we found her. But her luck ran out because she died about a week later. Yeah, it's a bummer too, man. She'd be so proud to see me up here right now. Not here specifically, because Nana hated fucking Gadsden, obviously, but she loved comedy. Absolutely loved comedy. In fact, there's a lot of doctors that still swear to this day, if we'd have took her to the hospital instead of a comedy club, she'd still be alive right now, but I'm joking. We took her to the hospital, okay? My grandmother was the only one in my entire family that supported my dream of being a stand-up comedian. She's the only one that believed in me. And I was there with her in the ICU the day she drew her last breath. I was right there. And I'll never forget the last words she ever spoke to me. So I wouldn't get upset. She sat right up in that bed, sir, and she looked me right in the eyes, and she said, "Gene, don't unplug that." Then my phone was like 8%, y'all. She had a good life. It was time. We don't hang around forever. It was time. Now, I have to admit, part of that joke is just made up for effect. Okay, part of that joke is not true. My grandmother never believed that I could do comedy. She didn't support my dream at all. Fucking bitch. I'm sorry, I'm always kind of negative like that. It's just how I am. I'm just naturally a negative person. Like most people, if they look across the room and they lock eyes with a beautiful girl, they'll think, "Hey, I think that chick's into me." Or I just think, "Fuck's this bitch looking at?" People ask you, "Are you more of a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of guy?" And I'm like, I don't give a shit because I'm sure somebody spit in it. But that's because my friends are negative, right? Like, I got friends that found out I was doing the stand-up comedy thing. This one guy in particular that I work with. He's like, "Really, man, you're doing stand-up comedy?" He's like, "That's crazy because I always thought you would be like the next John Candy or John Belushi or Chris Farley." And I was like, "Damn, man, you think I'm as funny as those guys?" And he's like, "No, I just thought you'd have a heart attack in your 30s. That's my friends. That's the reason I had to go see a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist told me that I was paranoid. Well, he didn't say that, but I know that's what he was thinking, you know? I mean, I could tell. You got that, didn't you? See, most of the folks too drunk to get it. Brother got it. So now I forgive you for the chicken nugget remark now. So we're cool. At least I got a cool doctor, though. Like, when you're fat like me, I'm 46 years old, I'm fat, right? And I know that I've lived more than half my life at this point, okay? I'm not going to be like a 92-year-old fat guy. Look at me. So it's cool that I have a cool doctor, because usually when you get to my age and you go to the doctor and you're old as fat as me, you hear nothing but bad news. But man, my doctor puts a positive spin on everything. Like, I went to his office the other day to get some test results. He said, "You know, Gene, if my doctor's office was an arcade, nobody could beat your high score at triglycerides." And that makes you feel good, you know? He calls me the Michael Jordan of diabetes, because he says I put more points on the board than anybody else that comes in his office. So. But you got to do that because fat people are the last group out there it's still okay to make fun of. You can talk shit about fat people all day long. You can dunk on fat people till your heart desires. Nobody's going to do nothing. You ain't going to get rode up at work. You ain't going to get canceled on Twitter. Nobody cares. And I don't get it. I mean, we're the largest group by volume. You know? Is it because we don't raise awareness? We're not going to march, obviously. We're not going to boycott your restaurant, you know? I mean, President Chick-fil-A come out tomorrow and talk bad about fat people and say he hates all fat people. We might cut down to eating there once a week. And if we did, he'd feel it. He'd come out the next day and be like, hey, when we said that about fat people, we wasn't talking about all of you, just the gay ones. So, y'all chill out. That joke's about Chick-fil-A, not gay people. Don't get tense on me, okay? It's knocking Chick-fil-A. And it's not like we don't do anything. I mean, fat people, we were sitting down during the national anthem long before them football players started taking a knee. You know what I mean? So, ain't like we didn't try, y'all. Y'all are a good crowd, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all are a great crowd. I've been in front of some shitty crowds. I'm not gonna say where, but I was doing a show a few weeks ago, and I went up and told my jokes. I went and sat down in the crowd, and this girl come up on stage, and she was telling her jokes. And I'm not gonna lie, she wasn't funny. Okay? I'm not one of them guys that say all women aren't funny, that there's no such thing as a funny comedian, but this chick was not funny, but she was hot. Like, she was hot, right? And the guy in front of me starts heckling her. He's like, "Boo, you suck, you're not funny, show us your tits. Boo, take your top off, you're not funny." Now, I didn't know this girl, I've never met her in my life. But I knew somebody had to do something, so finally, I reached up there, I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, "Dad, knock that shit off, man, you're embarrassing me." Damn it. I finally got around, after putting it off for a while, to writing some really good procrastination jokes. but I'll tell you those next time. I assumed y'all would laugh at that. Y'all got it. See, it's never good to assume. Never assume. For instance, I'll give you a couple examples. You look at me on this stage right now, and you assume that if I played a sport in high school, it was
Rugby! Rugby! Soccer!
You're fucking it up. You're supposed to say football. I'm fat.
Sorry!
Come on, Wicked. What is it?
Football!
See, you would be wrong. You can't assume I played football. I played tennis. True story. Look it up. Now, if you hear I played tennis in high school, you assume that I wasn't fat in high school. Wrong! I was fat in high school. I wasn't this fucking fat in high school. But I was fat for a tennis player, for sure. But every day, the head football coach would try to recruit me. He would stop me in the hallway like, Gene, you need to be playing football, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you playing tennis? Every day. Eventually got to the point he was calling my house. And this is I'm going to preface what I'm about to say next with this was 1993. Because again, I told you earlier, I'm old and fat. He calls my house and he's like, dude, why are you playing tennis instead of football? I have to assume you must be some kind of queer. Again, 1993. This guy knows back in those days, it was perfectly acceptable if somebody didn't want to do something that was considered masculine and manly for you to call them queer, or God forbid the F word. I'm not agreeing with it, but those were the times we were in. That's what he assumed. I said, well, Coach Lyles, let me tell you something. Every day after school, I walk down the hill to the tennis courts. And I play mixed doubles with a hot chick in a short skirt who bends over in front of me over and over and over again. While meanwhile, across the street, the manly men are bent over with their face stuck in another dude's ass for 3 hours, and then you all get stripped down naked and go take a shower together. So, Coach Lyles, who should we assume is the queer? I didn't get recruited for football anymore, so story doesn't have One last joke, and then I'll leave. So I know I'm wearing out my welcome here. But you guys have been really cool. I appreciate that, because people haven't always been cool to me. I used to get bullied in school every day. I got picked on and got bullied in school, and it was rough. And I finally decided one day to sit down and have a talk with my father about it. And he just looked me right in the eye and he said, "You're the one that asked to be homeschooled, pussy." I'm Gene Jackson, y'all. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out for me.